created for Black people, for Black children. It's something very basic that any family can memorize and implement. I encourage you, after you see this lecture, to go to your family, have them watch this video. If you're in the program, just download it, maybe put it on the screen, and have your family watch it together, because I personally believe that this will change your life. This conversation, if you apply what I tell you, it will change your family for the next 300 years. If you solidify this as a family tradition in terms of how you see money, I guarantee you it will change your family for the next 300 years. And I'm not exaggerating. I probably sound bombastic when I say this, but I've thought about how traditions get passed on. And when you pass traditions on deliberately, that's how they last forever. So the K stands for knowledge. The I stands for investment. The D stands for discipline. That's all it is. Knowledge, investment, discipline, knowledge, investment, discipline, knowledge, investment, discipline. That's it. Okay. So let's keep going. All right. So the, give me one second. I was thinking about something. Okay. All right. So knowledge. What does knowledge mean? Well, number one, every Black child should know how to start a business by the age of 12. I don't care if your child doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. They need to be prepared to be an entrepreneur the same way little white kids get taught how to fire a gun at the age of 9. You know, I'm talking about little kids in the Midwest. You know, their parents give them a gun and they say, "Come on, little buck, we're going to go hunting today." And little buck knows how to shoot. He knows how to hunt and fish, even if he doesn't like to hunt and fish. I believe our children need to learn how to hunt and fish, except economically. So I believe every Black child should know how to start a business by the age of 12. It takes less time to learn how to start a business than it takes to learn how to, play football and basketball and everything else. So I think that should be a fundamental part of every child's coming of age, every child's rite of passage. Financial literacy has to become part of the culture. So we talk about financial knowledge. I think that when you're gathered with your family, you should have conversations about money and financial literacy, stuff like that. Maybe you can have them watch some of the videos that we cover in the Black Wealth Bootcamp and the Black Stock Market Program, whatever it takes. You want to share the gospel of Black financial literacy and wealth building. And I guarantee you, it's not a tough sell. It's not something that is hard to convince people that money is hard to come by. Once people kind of get it and it clicks, then suddenly people, I think, really embrace the ideas. Next, knowledge. You have to prepare them for the game of wealth. You don't want to put them in the game of wealth without any preparation. It's almost like putting your child in the middle of a professional football game when they don't have any pads, when they have no training, when they've never seen a football before, they don't know the rules. That child is going to get killed. They're not going to survive if that were to happen. And then what's going to happen is not only will they be most likely to be killed, and a lot of our children are killed at an early age, meaning they're economically killed. They're made into non-entities. I mean, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go walk down the street in a major city and look at how many Black men you see who've been completely decimated psychologically by the system, who are begging for money. I mean, have no pride, no dignity anymore. A man's natural dignity a lot of times will stop him from begging another man for money. These guys have been stripped of their manhood in every single way. If you're a Black woman, would you want to marry a man like that? If you're a Black child, when you were a kid, would you be proud to see your daddy sitting on the sideline or on the side of the freeway begging for money? No, you wouldn't. And so ultimately, a lot of this occurs because they were dropped into a competitive economic situation and they were not prepared to compete. They weren't prepared to, start their own businesses, go build their own little Black Wall Streets. So all they knew how to do was go to the white man's school and get the white man's job. And that's pretty much what led them to being on Skid Row, begging for money every day and embarrassing their families, embarrassing the women they had children with, embarrassing their own kids. And so ultimately, we must prepare our children because we got to build stronger people. And I probably feel sensitive to that because that was my experience. My biological father was not a man that I was proud of. He was not a strong man. He went to prison. He was a very weak man. And then also the person I looked up to, my uncle, who was like my older brother, was a very, very weak man. He just, all the way up until the day he died, it was like one struggle after another because nobody prepared him for the struggles of manhood. So anyway, investment is what the I stands for. Now, what does that mean? In the investment component, what you're doing there is you're giving your child the knowledge now, right? You put them in financial education programs at an early age. They know how to start a business. Their viewpoint of what it means to make money is very different from that kid who only knows how to go get a job at McDonald's. So they're already thinking about moves that they want to make. Their mind is already doing things that their body and their bank account may not be able to do. So in a way, it's like being a boxer, but you don't have any arms. You can't swing, but you imagine yourself throwing punches and ducking and all this stuff. You imagine yourself playing the game, but you don't have anything to play with. Well, the investment component is when you give them the weapons. See, so your child has the financial knowledge, but you want them to have assets to utilize so that when they come up with a brilliant idea, they can make moves. They can boom. They can just go and say, okay, let's do it. Let's make the investment. I'm gonna write the check. Let's get the business started. Let's form the LLC. Okay, because I know because I have financial knowledge at an early age, I know I need to form an LLC. I know I might need to structure a board of directors. I know that I need to set up a business plan. I know that I need to have my marketing strategy intact. I know that I need to set up my digital platforms. I know all these things, but all these things cost money. So that's where you're going to put your child ahead of the curve, is because you're going to start preparing them for the battle very early, because you're going to start making basic strategic investments at an early age so that these little seeds will grow. So what you're thinking is, there's going to come a day where that child's going to go, he's going to need some apple trees. He's going to need some apples, and I want him to own his own apple tree. So instead of waiting until he gets hungry to get the tree, you can't grow an apple tree in 5 minutes. Well, what do? You plant the seeds in advance. Plant the seeds in advance so that by the time he's ready to start wanting apples, you can say, here you go, son, this is my gift to you. Here you go, sweetie. This is an apple tree that you can go to, so that when you're ready to make a move, you can go get an apple off this tree instead of going to beg for apples from someone.